Throughout the Hebrew Bible, and particularly in the book of Isaiah, we see the prophets criticizing other Mesopotamian religions, local cults, Babylonian, Assyrian, for worshiping things, these statues, these idols that are made by human hands. And they ask the question, how can you worship something that you made with your own hands? Interestingly enough, the Mesopotamian priest would respond with, we didn't. And this is the Mespi ritual, the ritual that enlivens a statue and actually allows the gods themselves to create that so that it's not as created as a work of human hands. So let's talk a little bit today about the Mespi ritual, the mouth-washing ritual. So its primary design is to purify this piece of wood or this precious metal so that it can be transformed into the living deity. And in doing so, allow the gods to create this statue by themselves in heaven, which may seem odd to us. But let's go through the ritual a little bit, not in any great detail, but to just see sort of what it is that they're trying to do. So Mespi, again, is a mouth-washing ritual. They utilize specially prepared water. They hold it in a special vessel, but it's designed to purify the statue for the god so that he can inhabit it. It can be enlivened with the deity. There's also a mouth-opening ritual, which allows the god to taste and to hear, and it's the priest would take some type of a sweet, normally substance like honey, ghee, cedar, cypress resin, and apply it to the mouth, maybe the nose, and it makes them able to eat food and to smell incense. And in doing these particular actions, these cultic actions, it makes it so that the deity itself is enlivened. So the Mespi itself is a 2-day ritual involving the Ashipu priest, who's an incantation priest, taking the statue from the workshop, the Beit Mumi, out into a reed hut, often by the riverbank, and ritually purifying and activating it as a god. And now, during the ritual, we see statements that kind of give us insight into what exactly is going on and what it is that they believed was transpiring. So some of the pronouncements that you see in the ritual are the statue is born in heaven. It is introduced to Ea. It's wood cut from a holy forest. It specifically says that the gods make the statue, that the gods perform all the rituals. Shamash is the one that determines the statue's ability to eat and drink. And as a matter of fact, there is an actual part of the ceremony where they but they ritually, not actually, but cut off their hands to say that we didn't do it, right? The gods did it as part of the ritual. And there are at least 14 different acts in the ritual of washing of the mouth. Now, another interesting facet is death and resurrection thoughts when it comes to the cult statue. So when a statue would break or when it would need some repair, the priest, the king, the community, they would all mourn for the statue while it was being repaired. And of course, when it was repaired, it would have its mouth washed. And there's an interesting possible connection to Inanna's Descent, the Sumerian text, and of course later Akkadian text, where it talks about the decay and the destruction of the precious materials that were used to make divine statues. And she says, "Don't let me die down in the netherworld. Don't let me remain down there." And she compares herself to these precious metals that would decay or would be destroyed down there. And so there's this direct connection between the deity, the goddess, and her divine statue. If the statue could not be repaired, It was to be wrapped in a cloth with other precious metals or divine property, and to be thrown into the river. And sometimes they were stored for later use or later repair. And of course, this has implications when we look back through other practices that we see in the archaeological record, and maybe gives us a clue into what was going on back then. But again, the big takeaway here is that the statue itself was divine, and that the statue was not made in their understanding and in their ritual practice. The statue was not made by hands. It was made by the gods. And so they would say to Isaiah, well, you've got it wrong. We don't view it that way. Shamash determined the life of this statue, not us. For more information, please see in the description below for some great reading on the Mespi ritual. Thanks.